What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Unknown Coatings channel. The project today is something that we've sort of done before, just not this way. I get asked all the time about powder coating logos and how to put logos on brake calipers is kind of the main one that I get asked about. I typically do powder coated logos on almost everything, or I put a decal on after if the customer doesn't want to pay for powder coated logos. When I do that, I get lots of questions about, can you just powder coat over vinyl? Can you just put a sticker on and then clear coat it on? The general answer is yes, but that's not entirely the case in every color. So what we're gonna do, I got a set of brake calipers, or a pair of brake calipers I'm working on that we're doing silver with a black logo, and I'm gonna be clearing the black logo onto those. Now, the reason that I say that it is not universal, you can't just say yes, that it works, is certain color vinyls do not mix with certain color powders. If you're doing black, you're fine. Red, typically, when it heats up, it turns like a brick red color and never really comes back. With red powder coat, will often be darker when it comes out of the oven, and then when it cools down, it gets brighter red. The vinyl does not do that. White is the same way. White becomes basically opaque when you put it on and then heat it up, meaning you'll see whatever color is underneath it. So black is the safe one. Silver has always worked really well for me. Gold has worked really well for me. Blues and things of that nature have worked well. I've done purple. But this is mostly answering the question of, can you powder coat over vinyl, and is there anything different? So let's get to the video. Alright, so the first step obviously is disassembly, but I've shown that in lots of videos, so we'll skip that. Then there's blasting. I of course blast 3060 green diamond, and we'll just move straight into masking. If you guys need to see the disassembly process or blasting process or anything, I've 4 or 5 other videos up showing how to do brake calipers. Next step obviously is going to be masking. I get asked a lot about the tape that I use. I actually used just an amber high temp tape. I think it's called like Capcon or something like that. But if you just type in amber high temp tape in either Google, or I buy it off Amazon, this is the tape that ends up coming up, and I like this tape. It's much more user-friendly than the green tape. It stays down way better under heat. Doesn't seem to like pop up and lift on the edges, anything like that. I will say the one downside of this tape is if you let it get cold with powder on it, it is kind of a pain in the ass to remove. You just need to slip a razor blade underneath it and get an edge like slid. But beyond that, it's significantly better than the green tape. It's, I don't believe, more expensive. I actually haven't bought green tape forever. So after we get everything masked, go ahead through the powder coating process. This is being sprayed with my Hyper Smooth 02. This is actually probably going to be one of the last videos that you guys will see this gun in, unless I just pull it out for other random projects. Spraying a color called Silverstone. I tend to spray a pretty large cloud with this particular color. No actual reason other than this color seems like it has the ability to go on thin even when it doesn't look thin. So as you go through this process, I'm running 40 kV. This is probably about 8 psi. Obviously, everybody's gun settings are going to be slightly different, especially in psi. This is utilizing the hoppers that I've made. There's actually a whole episode on making these hoppers. This is kind of the old school version of the Columbia Coatings hoppers that used to come with the Hyper Smooth systems. They appear to work much better than most of the hoppers that are available now from people. One thing I always recommend is pulling the plugs before you cure stuff, even if you're going to have to put a second coat on, especially when you're going to have stuff like this where you're going to have pockets of hot air trying to escape. It tends to cause bubbling around those areas. If you forget, it's not that big of a deal. You can go in with a razor blade or like an X-Acto knife or a deburring tool and clean up all those edges. It's just a personal preference thing. If it doesn't bother you, then don't change your style, but we'll get these thrown in the oven after they're coated and get to the decals. For the decals, I just use Oracal 651. You know, I have a plotter here. I just cut my own decals, but you can obviously buy them, or, you know, a lot of people have friends with plotters now, so you can just send them over a file and they'll cut it for you. Brandsoftheworld.com actually has these logos, so you can just go over there and get the proper file type, and, you know, go through with the process of cutting it, weeding it, masking it, and then we're just going to place it here on this caliper. You know, once again, this caliper has been cured to about 300 degrees, and then, you know, pulled out, let cool, and you want to touch it, you know, as little as humanly possible. Obviously, you're still going to have to touch it, and you'll actually see when I go to spray the top coat on this, some little areas where touching it causes an issue, but only for a minute. A quick adjustment to the gun. I actually do this on the fly a lot of the time. We'll fix these problems. I think right here you're going to see a line underneath the Brembo, kind of at a weird angle, and then some spots on the Brembo as well. Like I said, that a quick adjustment from the gun, you'll actually see these will just disappear and everything will be fine. So if you see those in the future, don't worry about it. You know, just a little more clear on there and it'll solve your problem. You're not going to have like weird fish eyes or anything. So once you have a nice even coat, this is about what it should look like before going back into the oven with the clear. You know, you're obviously, despite the fact that we're clearing the logos on, you know, we're still gonna have to do the back of the caliper and clear as well to match, or your customer is gonna have one half shiny caliper, and that's not gonna be cool. Once again, this caliper is gonna show little spots. You can kind of see there to the right of the O, where it looks a little funny where I touched it. Like I said, don't worry about that. Just make sure you get your coverage nice and even. Everything will be fine. You're not even gonna see that spot later. This is them finished, so obviously no issues, as you can tell. And then there's the full set done. I did the bolts as well. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on all notifications. I have tons of people watching the videos, and like, I think it's only like 30% of you are subscribed, so I think it's actually less than that. And then of that percentage, it's even less people have all notifications turned on. So if you want to get a heads up when new videos are being posted, which is going to be a ton now, we're trying to put out a video nearly every day. We're going to be putting out about 5 a week after these next few videos come out every day. Also on Facebook, join the UKC Army page. Tons of helpful information in there, lots of helpful people. If you guys got questions, whether you're new, you've been doing this a while, you can jump in there, post a question. There's nobody like making fun of anybody or anything wild like that. I don't know, it's just been a great community. I'm super glad that I started that page, and I'm glad to see where it's gone. So yeah, UKC Army on Facebook, and we'll see you next time.
By now you should have at least known. It's funny, I'm mad famous for being unknown.